Hi, my name is Jackie. I'm from the blog Vegan Yak Attack.
My name's Katie. I'm Jackie's younger sister. I have a diet like any other college student. I eat top ramen, macaroni and cheese, and fast food. And I'm here today because my boyfriend told me that I need to learn how to cook food.
And that leads me to the new segment that I'm starting to do. We're going to do Even You Can Make It. And that is why this episode is Even Katie Can Make It. And it's not an insult or anything, it's just to show that people that aren't even vegan, vegetarian, have no cooking experience, can make these these recipes super easy. That I might copyright that phrase. I might trademark that. Easy peas. So anyway, today we're doing a recipe that's blueberry-filled pierogi. We used to make these with our grandparents back in Michigan. They're Polish. It's a really nice and refreshing sort of dessert snack. Super easy to make.
Easy.
Really easy. That is the key word for this webisode. So what we're going to do, the ingredients you're going to need are some all-purpose unbleached organic flour, preferably. We have some coconut oil, blueberries, and this time I'm actually adding some vanilla yogurt to the filling just to add a little bit of creaminess to it, and a little salt, some extra flour, some water, and I have a cup here that is roughly 3.5 inches in diameter, I guess, and we're going to use that to cut out the little pierogi rounds. So what we're going to do is, Katie, I'm going to have you stir the mixture, the flour mixture right now. So I'm going to put everything in the bowl, and then you get to stir it. You get to do the manual labor today. So that's just the flour. You don't really need. I guess you can sift it. It can work out like that. So here's some water. Here's the oil. Let me get this in here. We may need to add a little bit of extra water. We'll see. So here we go. So add that coconut oil. And then add just a little pinch of salt. So, okay, I'm just going to help you out with this. We have her stirring with the whisk. You see it's a big clump right here that doesn't really work a whole lot. Now it's flying everywhere. Alright, so here is what we're going to do. I'm just going to have you fold it with this. Alright, so you're going to do it in a motion like this, and then we're going to have you hand knead it. Yeah, that's why we wash our hands, so we can hand knead. So, I need you to get in there. Get in there with your bad self. She has a texture problem. I think I'm doing this just so I can laugh. Maybe a little bit. Okay, so yeah, so you're just gonna press down just to get in a big, like this. You need to do like just a big kneading. Here, do that a little bit more. I'm gonna get just a tad more water for you. Alright, here, just add a little splash. I know that feels awesome. You got it. It's okay. And then what we're going to do is let this sit for probably 20 minutes just to absorb it all. Sit it covered, maybe with a wet towel, a damp towel to keep the flour moist. Alright, you see we have this nice little ball of dough, which doesn't look like much, but when you're making pierogi, it's such a thin, small circle, you're going to end up with more than you know what to do. Alright, so we have our ball of dough that is rested for about 20 minutes. We're going to take a chunk off of here. I'm just going to show you how to do it first, and then I'm going to have you take over this position while I do the filling. Maybe tear it in half. You don't want to roll out the whole thing at once. I have my surface covered in flour, that way it doesn't stick to it. You can not tacky too much. And I have a massive rolling pin here. If you don't have a massive one, it's fine. Just make sure you press and you roll out in one direction, sort of firmly. Do it in another one. You don't want to roll back and forth because then it tends to get stuck on the rolling pin. So this is what you're going to do. You're just going to press it out, and you want to roll it out to about 1/8 of an inch thick. And flip it over a couple times, that way one side doesn't get too sticky. We have our thin piece. Then here I have my cup, which is the cutter that we're using. You're going to put it down as such, press very firmly, and then twist a little bit from side to side to just cut the dough. So you see we have this nice perfect circle here, and then you're just going to do that to the remainder. Alright, take your leftover dough and just put it in the rest of this. And you'll just keep on repeating that. So Katie, if you want to try rolling out a little bit, maybe tear that in half, and I'll show you how to do the filling. So we're going to take roughly a tablespoon of blueberries, not very much because this is a small round, and then a teaspoon or so of yogurt. And it's easy to do this on a flat surface. Just stretch it out just a little bit, get some extra room around the filling, and then you're going to fold it sort of like a taco and pinch the top, and then just pull out as you're pinching, pull the flour, the dough out, and pinch it together. If you get a little bit oozing out the sides, it's not so bad. Just make sure not to tear the dough. And then you want, are you doing okay over here? Just in one direction. See, and then this one is all pinched together. You can always do, use a fork, make it a little fancier, but for me, I mean, it's all gonna get eaten, so it's not that big of an issue. You're just gonna set it on here and prep for the other ones. And actually, a good thing to do is to wet your fingers and wet right here so that it'll seal a little bit better. So here we go. Here's another one. Alright, oh, see, okay, that's okay. Just mix it back with this. And you have them, and how about you make one with me? Alright? So take one and put it in your hand like this. Oh, see, that's gorgeous. So here's hers. Looking mighty nice. And then you're just going to keep doing that until you're done filling the pierogi. Pot right here, filled with water. It's boiling. I'm going to turn it down to medium heat, so it's still boiling, but it's not raging. And what you're going to do is just put these in here, maybe 4 or 5 at a time, and just drop them in there. You might even use this spoon. I have a flat spoon here that drains, so then that way the water doesn't get caught in it. This is perfect for picking them up and putting them in. So you just set it in there, and they'll start out on the bottom. And you don't want them to really touch because they might get stuck together. So here you go, just drop that one in. And you'll notice that the bubbles go down a little bit, but you're just going to keep it at the same heat. Here we are. So now they're cooking in there. And then once they're done, they're going to start floating. You'll see that the flour, the actual pierogi, is going to turn more of an opaque color instead of clear. And then once they start to float up and they're boiling, I might turn up the heat up just a little bit. That's when you start to pull them out. And then right here I have a baking sheet and a cooling rack. And this way they drain pretty well. They won't get stuck and get really weak. So this is where you're going to put them as soon as they're all starting to float. Let's just check one of these out. See, it's pretty opaque. It's not as matte or anything. So we're going to go ahead and place this right here. And that roughly took maybe 3 minutes to really cook them. It might take a little bit longer depending on the heat of the pot.
The size of the pierogi.
The size of the pierogi for sure. So we're going to take these all out. Oop. They're going to be a little slippery, so please, please, please be careful. All right. Okay. So now we're done boiling. I'm going to lower the heat to about medium. Take this off and then just put this small frying pan here. What I have here is a little bit of coconut oil. So this is just the option if you don't want to keep them boiled. I mean, boiled is obviously the healthy way, and then you can just freeze them if you want to save them for later eat them warm. You can bake them in the oven just to reheat them. Or you can fry them to get them a little crispy on the outside. That way it gives it a little bit more texture, and it's quite delicious like that actually. It is what Polish people do. But there is a couple different ways to serve them, like I said. So obviously this coconut oil is melting pretty fast. It's good to use coconut oil because it's one of the only oils that you can use in high heat that basically doesn't have a chemical reaction that creates carcinogens. So if you're ever going to do any sauteing or frying or anything, it's better to do with coconut oil. And before you fry the pierogi, you just want to make sure that most of the moisture is drained off of it. Like these ones that we did first are pretty dry. That way there's not a whole lot of popping or anything. And then I also, waiting for the fried ones, I have a plate here that has a couple paper towels on it so that if there's any grease or oil or anything on them, it'll just drain into the paper towel. So let's try a couple of these. You can hear it sizzling. And these you usually want to cook maybe 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Just check them out, see if they're browned on one side or not. And I'll have you do the next 3, and we can keep the other ones boiled. Alright, we're putting the last of the pierogi on the plate now.
Slowly but surely.
Just hop it. Just toss it onto the plate. There we go.
Sorry.
Now let's turn off the heat.
The hiccups.
Remove the pan from the heat. Alright, we're just going to dab these. These other ones have cooled just a couple minutes, but I would definitely recommend not eating them right out of the pan. They're just a little too hot. So here we go. We have some boiled pierogi, we have some fried ones for the texture, and they both look so great. So we're all done cooking, like I said, and this is how you can just, it's seriously so easy to eat and just set up. If you have a little bit of maple syrup, you can drizzle it on. Here, if you want to go ahead and put those on. And then even maybe chocolate syrup or something would be so good. And all I'm going to do here is I have a little bit of powdered sugar and cinnamon in the shaker. And I'm just going to shake a little bit on there. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, it's all over, all over. Alright, let's try these out. Okay. That is insanely good. It's almost like a little bit healthier carnival food, but really good. How do you like them?
I really am. I even like blueberries, and I would have like 5 or 6 of these.
Tremendous. So go ahead and try these out. We saw that Katie was able to make them with me, a little bit of assistance. I'm going to have the full recipe and all the measurements on Vegan Yak Attack, so just go ahead to that site, the link is below, and thank you guys for watching.